I like made myself a promise that I wouldn't leave New York until I like made my mark on it. Until I like really like, I'm getting chills like saying that, but I'm just like, I was like, I'm not gonna leave until I like did something that I feel is like profound. And I'm just like gonna keep going at it. And like the further down the rabbit hole you get, the more you realize like everybody keeps quitting.
Yeah.
Also, you're like, oh, they gave up. Oh, they stopped, and they're not pushing like further and harder. And when you keep surrounding yourself with people who are like pushing in their industries and stuff like that, I do feel lucky that I like the past year of my life I got to really surround myself with like some really smart like artists and business people, and I just got to like learn and observe, and I was like, oh fuck, they like move differently through the world. They just like think about the world differently than most people.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 3 of The Craft, the podcast where inspirational people come to talk about their talent, passion, and process leading up to big moments. Today's episode is with YouTuber and video creator Caleb Simpson, who started his career here in New York City. He started out by working at a tennis club, and through hard work and determination, he was able to pivot his career and become a full-time video creator. Caleb has now amassed over 1 billion views on social, but Caleb's been making videos for over 7 years now. And growing up, Caleb was always curious about filmmaking and storytelling. You may recognize him as the guy who asks if he can tour your apartment. Caleb's also the reason that my mini studio apartment went so viral back in September, and to this day, I still have news reporters asking me and contacting me if they can come tour it, even though I moved out a few months ago. Listen today as we discuss Caleb's journey, his thoughts on media strategy, getting into the video space, and his unique process on making it all work out.
My LinkedIn bio says short form content wizard, 1 billion views on social.
Love that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to start out with like who you are as a person and just kind of your background story for everyone. Like people who don't know you, like where did you grow up? How would you describe yourself? So
I grew up playing sports. I just like being really active and outside and playing a lot. So I feel like that's one like core ethos of who I am as a human. I just like to play and have fun and goof off. It's always been like something I just like doing. So yeah, I grew up like playing tennis and soccer, and played tennis in college and high school a little bit. Then I started drinking, in college. Quit playing tennis for a bit.
Okay. How was that?
How's what? Drinking?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina and grew up there, went to school there. I was homeschooled, actually. Fun fact.
No way.
Yeah, homeschooled. I went to community college early, and then I went to college, and then, yeah.
Wait, you were homeschooled in college or before college? In high school?
Like middle school and high school, yeah.
Okay.
Preschool.
What was the decision on that? Like, why were you?
Why was I homeschooled? It was my parents' decision. I think it was more of like a religious thing. I grew up like Christian.
Okay.
And then they just wanted to like instill religious beliefs in the school or whatever. They just had more control, I guess.
That's smart, honestly.
Yeah.
That's cool. So North Carolina, do you have siblings?
I have 8 siblings from the same parents.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so there's 9 of us. I'm the middle child. 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters, and 2 younger brothers and 2 younger sisters, yeah.
Wow.
That probably explains like how weird and wacky I am.
That's cool. I feel like you have a lot of different like probably like perspectives growing up. What was it like?
What was it like?
Yeah, with that many siblings.
That's what I say to like single like kids who are just like a single child.
That's true.
I'm like, what is it like being a single child? And then they're like, normal. I'm like, exactly. I'd say it was weird. Only I would say the elements that were weird. It's just like, it was weird that we were homeschooled. Like everyone's like, whoa. And then there's so many kids and everyone's like, whoa. So we got that a lot.
Everyone was homeschooled.
Yeah, all my siblings. Yeah.
That's dedication.
Yeah, seriously.
That's cool. Okay, that's neat. Would you say your transition from college to after college, life after college, like what did you study and how does it compare to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I never really cared about school ever. It was just like a thing I had to go do, which I feel like is a common thread with a lot of people. And I always wanted to drop out, but then my parents were like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I have no idea. So I got offered a job to move to New York and manage a tennis club and teach tennis. And I just thought like, if any place in the world will make something of me, I didn't know anyone here, it would be New York City. Nice. Like, let's come here. I'll either become homeless and on the street or figure it out. Like, that was my exact thought.
What was your friends' family reaction when you were like, I'm going to go to New York City?
Well, my family was stoked. They were like, yeah, go do that. That's cool. My college friends didn't think I would last. They were
really?
like, yeah, he won't make it a year. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's been 7, bitch.
Hang it up on the wall.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's weird because my parents, I always ask people this, like my parents were like hardcore, you're not getting out of Missouri. There's no way you'll make it. Do you think that impacts your perspective?
I mean, I think I had to get away to be able to make it, quote unquote. I grew up like quite sheltered, like the homeschool thing, the religious thing.
Yeah.
You know, like my dad was kind of an authoritarian. How do you say that word?
Like authoritative?
Yeah, very authoritative. Like he was the man in the house, right?
Yeah.
So you had to follow the rules and shit. So once I kind of getting away from that, I was like, okay, like there's a whole world out here to explore. So I need to like see what that's about.
Yeah, there's honestly like endless amounts of exploration to be done. So obviously like I had to like go back all the way like to your YouTube videos to like see like the progress. How would you describe your style video making?
I would say it's a mixture of mini documentaries and YouTube. I've worked in media for the past few years, and I've done like mini documentary style, like sit down interviews and nice pretty B-roll and like all that shit.
Nice.
And then a part of it I really enjoy, like with storytelling, I really enjoy that style, but also it's like also kind of dry and fucking boring. So it's like okay, how can I combine like being silly and goofy and like memeable, but then with like a sit down story that's like kind of like, oh, there's a little bit more to this than like YouTube.
Yeah.
The style of filmmaking when it comes to like long form YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
Long form YouTube.
Yeah.
Short form, different beast.
I was thinking this the other day and I was like trying to there's no one else in New York that does goes up to people and is like, let me tour your apartment, right? Like you're the only one.
Right. I've had a series that blew up online recently where I asked strangers in New York, like, how much do you pay for rent? And then can I tour your apartment? Kind of blew up.
Yeah, for people who don't know.
Yeah, for people who don't know. Kind of blew up everywhere, all over the internet, and I'm kind of known for that now. Yeah, so I don't think anyone was doing anything like that in New York. There was like Sean Rizwan who does like, what song are you listening to? And he lives in New York, but it doesn't go really any further than that.
Oh, like he just asks people,
what song are you listening to? And then they, answer.
Yeah, okay. So it's you like take it a step further.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of forget. For backstory too, like, so Caleb like went up to me for my apartment and it went viral. And now I'm like, I feel like that's been like the media for the past like few weeks. And now my head's like, people must know. But you're right, like maybe people don't know the whole backstory.
Yeah, for sure.
Aside from doing the apartment videos, like what's your biggest joy in it? What do you like most about it?
You know, like I've just picked up a camera like almost 7 years ago when I moved to New York, like 6 months after I moved here. And it's just been a really long, like painful journey, like of taking like risks on myself and then just like not knowing what direction it's going to go. Like you always have an idea in your head, it may be this or it may be that, but you don't necessarily know what you like with the process. So I explored a lot with cameras and telling storytelling, like photography, documentaries, working at agencies. Do I want to go viral? Do I want to work with YouTubers? Do I want to, work in the music industry? Like I've done all that. Just trying to like figure out what process I really enjoy the most.
Yeah.
And through doing all that this past like 7 years of my life, what I enjoy the most is like experiencing new things and interacting with people and like goofing off and having fun, and exploring, like going on adventures. So I think like this apartment tour series like really embodies all that. Like I get to run around New York and like see different neighborhoods, meet new interesting people, see cool new spaces, and then I can take that anywhere in the world. Like I can go to new cities or new countries or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And what's funny is people are like, what are you going to do? Just tour people's apartments? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do? There's like so many TV shows that this is all they do. And it's been on there for years and years and years. Like, this is so fun. Why would I not do this? Like I used to work in like a restaurant, like I used to just like, there's so many shitty jobs I've worked. I'm like, dude, I'm just like running around, just like exploring. Like, this is so cool.
That's honestly interesting because, you can literally take it across the world and interview people in like different countries, and it's going to be your style wherever you go.
Totally. And what I've tried to do, which I think is like really hard, and what a lot of my friends who have like seen my process have really pointed out to me, they're like, you really like shine through in your videos. Like when I was making videos in the past, like I wasn't like fully me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't just like putting it all out there. And now I just made the decision. I was like, I'm just going to be me fully. And like, if people don't like it, that's fine. If they do like it, that's cool if they connect to it. But I think that's what like really shines through and makes me different from other people online.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just like being silly, wacky, and like trying to just have fun and just be myself.
Yeah. And you don't like really care what people think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to, the experience versus the video are two completely different things. Like
Yeah.
when people see the video, they come up with their own conclusions. But like for me, I'm just trying to like have as much fun in the experience as possible.
Right. Yeah, I think it's funny because isn't it funny how like you kind of fear like what people will think about you and then you do it and it's almost like you're like honored for it. Like people are like, oh, that's really cool. Like it's like they're like on board with it when you're full of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just like, it doesn't really matter what other people think. It only matters like how you feel about it.
It is hard to encapsulate an entire city and you're doing it.
Dude, yeah, it's actually insane. Like, I cannot, like, this is going to sound funny, but I just can't believe how famous I am.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I'm blown away. Like,
what does it feel like from because you're making videos for a long time. You said 6 or 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then to now, what does it feel like? Now you're like finally being recognized for it.
Yeah, what's interesting is yeah, that's a great question. Being recognized for it. I think I've just like let go of that a long time ago because like that's what I really wanted at the beginning. I wanted to be recognized for my work. Like I wanted people to enjoy it and like it and watch it. Like I'd always, when I first started making videos, like send it to my family and my friends and be so excited. Like, yo, look at this thing I made. It's sick. But it wasn't sick. It was shit then. You know, it was like I just started making videos. Of course it wasn't good. And then it would just be like all this emotion and all this like weird shit going on. Like, oh, they didn't like it. Da, 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 da. And then, I just think like just grinding for years, like making so much shit, like working in agencies, like working with DJs, just like building a startup media company. You just make so many things and it happens so quickly that you kind of like detach from it. Like some stuff you're like, oh yeah, that was sick. I'm proud of that. Then you just move on and make the next thing. And it's just like, just getting to make things is the thing.
Right.
You know?
All that emotion and everything is like, you're going to go through that when you're in the process of, oh, this sucks, or, oh, I'm just beginning at it. Were you hard on yourself? For
sure. Yeah. I think everyone's like really hard on themselves whenever they're trying to create, right? Or make things, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And still now I'm hard on myself, but I let it go much quicker. I'm just like, oh, like I can only do so much. Like I don't know. There's only so much you can put into it, and then you need to release it to the world. Yeah,
I agree. I feel like I've learned a lot of tips from you because even when we were filming the video together, you knew the cuts and you were like, I'm doing this. Then when it was done, I'm done. On to the next.
Right, exactly. It's very like, I feel really lucky to have worked in so many different industries for this moment. Like, so like when I first started making YouTube videos, I made a couple, and my friend Irvin, who's like a longtime supporter, thanks Irvin, and he like pushed me to make videos. I was like, dude, I thought that video was going to go viral like 6 years ago. Wow. And he's like, you weren't ready for it to go viral. Wow. He's like, you wouldn't have known what to do with it. Like momentum, energy, like mental energy, emotion, like how can I produce more and what direction to go? So I just feel like so ready for this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just feel prepared.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I know what to do.
There's definitely a huge yes to that because there's a moment where you can like, if you're not prepared for the big moment, you're right, you can't really like push anything out. It's almost like you're stuck.
Totally. Or just like taking advantage of momentum.
Yeah. I was watching, I don't know what vlog of it, I was like watching a vlog of yours from, had to be like 3 years ago because I was like trying to like see what your style was like way back when, and it was like you were talking on like a swing set and you're like, I don't know the secret of going viral, but I can give you guys some tips. So I feel like even like back then, like what would you say, like you feel like you have like a voice inside your head, or you just like, because you were like just 10x it, like just do it 10 times more 10 times better.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've kind of followed the same principles. I just like, to be honest, I just didn't go all in on myself, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like there's this like level of like faith you have to do and like jump over the edge. Yeah. And just go all in and just believe. Yeah. And like when you start believing, everyone else starts believing, and it's just like this fucking thing that's just so like. And I think then like whatever vlog you were watching, I think maybe I had like 1 million followers on TikTok then or something. Yes. I was like, oh, I hit 1 million on TikTok, and I think these are like the principles of how I got to 1 million on TikTok. Yeah. Which I do have a theory of 10xing, which is like Grant Cardone, who's a real estate agent. It's like his theory where he's like how to 10x your profits or your money. And I think about that with social media too, because like there's so many trends and shit that goes on, and everyone ends up doing the exact same thing. And I'll just like look at a trend or whatever's happening, and I just like think like, okay, how can we 10x this idea? Whatever that is, whether it's like somebody filmed something in a studio. Well, maybe we do it in a helicopter, you know, the same trend. Like then it's like obnoxious and crazy. Or we're inside, maybe we're outside, or like maybe we're in the ocean, or just whatever. Just like any other idea that's super outlandish.
Yeah.
Like how do we just make it different and like so much more of an idea that other people wouldn't do it.
That's honestly genius.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about, like the apartment tour shit. I was like, no one's going to ask somebody to go in their home. Like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. Like,
people are going to say no. You're going to get denied, and it's going to be uncomfortable for all parties.
Yeah.
You know? It's just going to be weird.
That's so great, though, because, like, then you're, like, going out and trying it and just, like, pushing the limits a little bit.
Yeah. One of my friends described it as, like, we were walking around, and I'm just, like, chatting with people or whatever. And he's like, you just really enjoy, like, talking with people in a way of like messing with them as like it's a game. Mm-hmm. Like you'll just like chatting with people and like push their buttons in ways just to like see how they react, and then just be like laughing about it on the inside. That's
honestly, because wait, you were telling me this too. You like stare at people on the subway and just like see if they like stare back.
Yeah, or like it wasn't stare at people on the subway. Like sometimes you get out of the cart and then the subway starts taking off, and then I'll just like run next to the subway like staring at somebody like, no, I got left behind.
It's so funny.
And then they're just like, what the fuck is happening? And then I just start laughing. I'm just like, that was funny. Some people like will play along, some people won't. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like just kind of like treating the world like a show, you know? Like I'm in a show, and that's kind of how I treat it.
The world's your stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Love that.
Everyone's just a paid actor.
Exactly. Okay, so a little bit ago, a few weeks ago, you said, I feel like I will always remember this. You said, some people can make videos for their entire lives and it won't go anywhere.
I look at the internet as like new age Hollywood, and there's a lot of people fighting like very, very hard to be seen on the internet. Especially now with like TikTok and short form video, you might have like a one hit wonder. Like you might just go viral because the platforms are set up that way to keep you feeding, making shit. Like they want you to do that. Like it's literally made that way. The CEO of the company literally said that. So I think it just takes like a lot of work and dedication and paying attention and like reworking and trying. And that's why I think like people might just like make videos their entire life and never see any results, because it's just nose to the ground work. Like
yeah.
I've just been like hustling for like fucking years. My friend, actually one of my friends who's gonna do like a mini doc on me.
Nice.
We were chatting yesterday. Like he's known me from the beginning. He's like, bro, you've been like doing this for almost a decade. He's so just like working, trying, like learning, you know, the ins and outs of just everything.
Was there ever a point where you felt like not doing videos anymore?
For sure. Like I actually was like chatting with my brother the other day, and I just like started crying because I was like, damn, dude, like it's so crazy how this is happening, and like how many times did I call you just like, dude, I just can't do this shit anymore. Like this is just this is just like too hard. Like I'm just like broke. I'm fucking like can't afford rent. Like I broke my camera. Like just like all these things, you know, that are just like the whole world just feels like it's fighting against you, you know? Yeah. And then you're just like, oh, it's impossible. It's never gonna happen, you know? Mm-hmm. Like
yeah, and I feel like that's so crazy because yeah, it's like we all go through that, and then well, maybe some people don't, but like most people would give up.
For sure.
You didn't.
For sure.
What do you think made you keep like pursuing it?
Man, I kind of like made myself a promise that I wouldn't leave New York until I like made my mark on it. Until I like really like, I'm getting chills like saying that, but I'm just like, I was like, I'm not gonna leave until I like did something that I feel is like profound, and I'm just like gonna keep going at it. And like the further down the rabbit hole you get, the more you realize like everybody keeps quitting. Oh, they gave up. Oh, they stopped, and they're not pushing like further and harder. And when you keep surrounding yourself with people who are like pushing in their industries and stuff like that, I do feel lucky that I like the past year of my life I got to really surround myself with like some really smart like artists and business people, and I just got to like learn and observe, and I was like, oh fuck, they like move differently through the world. They just like think about the world differently than most people. You just see how they operate. Like I think like the biggest thing that I learned in the past year of my life before this moment was just like life is just problems. Like it's just a set of obstacles in front of you every single day, and it's just like understanding like, okay, there's a problem, how can we solve it, and not getting like emotionally like distracted by that problem. It's like, let's just solve it and move on and like produce the thing.
Yeah, exactly. you also were saying the other day, you were like, I'm at the point where I'm like, even if I don't like doing this thing, I'm still going to do it. You're pushing past that point of like, you're getting it out there.
For sure. I mean, there's like, I think everyone goes through that like right now, like in their job every day. There's like moments that they're just like, I don't want to be here. And it obviously shows like any job you go into, like if you go into a fast food restaurant, right? There's people who don't want to be there and it's blatant. If you go into like corporate America, people hide it better, but there might be moments of the day where you catch them, but they're like forced to be there, right?
Yeah.
When you're trying to like forced, quote unquote, like they need their job, but
Gotta pay rent.
LOL. And then when you're doing it for yourself, those moments hit me every day. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go home from this podcast and I have like 3 videos to edit. I'm not going to want to edit. I know I'm going to sit down and not want to do it, but I'm just going to do it no matter how I feel.
Yeah, that's great. Because I feel like I read this book. I think it might be Outwitting the Devil, but it was talking about how like your emotions aren't really like a valid point to like act on. Like you have to like beat your own emotions in a way.
Right.
That's dedication. And a lot of people stop at that point, which is something that I've realized too. The media stuff that you worked at, walk me through that, because I remember you telling me about it a little bit, but what jobs did you observe from people before this? Just
like what's my background kind of from the
start?
start?
No, like I know you did the tennis job, but you said you observed other people.
Yeah, so the first 3 years in New York, I was teaching tennis and like teaching myself filmmaking in my spare time.
Yourself
in my spare time, and then I had the hustle mentality then. Like I was like reaching out, like doing free shit, like whatever I could do. I was like, yes, let me go make these videos. And then I got offered a job I applied for a job to travel with this travel Instagrammer. And then I like went to Dubai with him, and then he was like, this is awesome, I want to hire you. So I just like came back and quit my job. It's like, oh, I guess I'm like doing this now. You know?
No way.
So that was like a big moment for me, age 26. So guys, like I didn't start my life till I was 26 years old, pretty much. I didn't take a chance on myself till then, pretty much. Yeah, and then that wasn't working out. So then 3 months later, I just quit and was like, fuck, no idea what to do. So I was just like looking online, saw someone like, oh, we need like a freelance videographer. I was like, oh, I can do it. Boom, these guys were starting like a music marketing agency. So then I just like started doing freelance work for them. I was working with like DJs, like just learning how like systems and operations worked. Like how do you produce a lot of content? How do you work with other people? And like, how do you work with famous people too?
Yeah.
It's like, how do I make content for them? Oh, they believe what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they believe your concept, and will it work online? There's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
When you like pitch a concept to a company, and then the company's like, okay, now they're pitching it to the celebrity. And then it's just like, if it flops in your face, you kind of look like an idiot. So like that kind of pushed me to, learn more, because I didn't want to look dumb. Yeah. And obviously that's building relationships too. Like if you're good at that, like it's like, oh damn, he figured it out. Like he helped build my social media following. Then that's around the time I kind of blew up on TikTok a little bit, and then COVID happened. So like there was no fucking business coming in anyway. No one's making videos during COVID. So I was just like doing all these weird trends and shit on TikTok. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I was like super confused, but I was just like, well, I'm getting paid. Let's keep making it.
You're getting paid for your own TikTok or for someone else?
For TikTok, yeah. I got some brand deals, some like a couple year-long brand deals. So it just like covered all my expenses and shit. So I was like, let me just lean into this. At that point, I definitely didn't lean in hard enough, I'll say. So it was like doing okay. And then I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of doing this. I want to build something else. So around that time, I was like, I kind of want to get into the NFT space. Like that seems interesting. Nice. Then my friend that I used to work with, said, yo, I'm starting this like media company around NFTs. Sick. Let's do it. Boom. Nice. Just like same day, we like went and played tennis. And then, because he was like, you just like know how to make shit go viral on the internet. Yeah. He's like, and we need that. It's like,
because at this point you had a large TikTok following.
I had like 4 million followers on TikTok.
That's fucking insane.
And I'd been going viral on TikTok for like 3 years. So I was just like, I know how this works,
Do you think TikTok was a strategy when the app first started? Because you understood like the process of TikTok. Even though you didn't, you kind of did.
Well, I just understood that like, what is the quote? Great artists copy, good artists steal.
Mm-hmm. That's great artists steal.
Yeah. So I was like, like when TikTok started, we just took 20 videos that all went viral and recreated all of them. And then we just kept doing that until like shit would hit. And then we'd be like, fuck, that just got 20 million views. Okay, let's keep doing that and keep recreating those ideas.
So smart.
Yeah. So when I was at this media company in a startup world, this was like the past year of my life, basically. The 3 guys that founded the company were just really smart. And then NFTs was crazy. Like, you like it or hate it, like celebrities are in it, finance was in it, mainstream media was in it. So it's just like this huge, like, melting pot of doers.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
For sure.
So I'm just like in the room with people I shouldn't be in the room with, basically, like for a year of my life, and just got to know all them and observe how to like build a company and network and like all this shit. So it was like that's what I was saying when I was just talking to all these artists, fine artists, new NFT artists, people have just been creating for fucking their entire lives, and I got to interview them and question them.
That's
so
amazing.
I got to just like deep dive into like processes and like find underlining themes of like what it takes to be an artist forever. Like, what does it take to be the top artist? Like, what is it? And it's like nothing. It's basically like you're there, you show up and you make shit.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't give up and you keep going. But it's more than that. Obviously, it's like you're willing to travel, like you're willing to put yourself in the room, you know?
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
if something's going on in LA and you need to be there, like you need to figure out how to fly there and get your ass in that room. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
And like make shit and talk to people and just like work your ass off ultimately, you know?
Yeah, it's like a mix of like showing up and like working around all the obstacles, studying. I feel like the strategy of things.
Exactly.
Like you're like using all parts of your brain.
Totally.
Because I'll have friends that'll just like be like, blah, 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 like complaining for like weeks on like why something isn't working. And I'm like, take a different angle at it. Like, don't complain. What's your thoughts about complaining?
So I'm like a huge believer in growth mindset.
Love that.
And it's been like something that I more started implementing in my life when I was around like 26, 27, because I just like was tired of feeling bad about my life. You know, I was just like, yo, I don't want to feel bad about my life anymore. So what do I do? So I just started researching. So yeah, it's just like, there's this one test you can do where you write down like every time you like talk shit about yourself in a day.
No way.
Yeah. So like every time you're just like, man, that was shit, Caleb. You know, you have to write it down. And then you like look back at it and you're like, holy shit, I was like talking shit about myself like 30 times today. I need to cut that out, you know?
Wow.
So then you just like slowly just start like rewiring your brain.
Yeah.
I guess.
Because truly like the way you think affects, I feel like every part of your life.
For sure.
Yeah.
And the people that you attract.
Yeah. There's like the energy magnitude law. I don't know. It's like you attract the same type of people. Like if you're negative, you're going to attract negative people.
For sure.
When you were like, I'm not happy with my life, you were just like, I'm just going to fucking go for it.
I mean, it's not as simple as like going for it, I think. It is and it isn't. Like, there's so much to learn and to implement into your life and build new habits that it is like one step at a time. I think that's why I'm 30 now. It's been 3 years. Like, I finally feel like I'm like really in a solid place where I'm happy to wake up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, this is sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is actually fucking sick. Like, I'm like waking up with a smile on my face. I used to wake up not with a smile on my face, you know?
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Yeah. For everyone out there, if you're not waking up with a smile on your face, just figure it out. It's okay.
Take
It'll
ice
happen.
baths, actually.
Oh, yeah. Take ice baths.
Snap yourself out of it.
Yeah. Just wake up crying, actually. I'm kidding.
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, most people, honestly, like I've talked to so many people who have like tried to talk me out of doing things that I want to do for myself. And if you ever like had to combat those kind of people, have you ever had people try to convince you out of your dreams?
So what's like kind of unique about my situation, I feel like, is I moved to New York City without knowing anybody. So there wasn't anyone here telling me no, you know? I was just started trying shit.
Nice.
And like no one in New York gives a fuck.
No.
Like no one gives a fuck. You're like, yo, I'm going to be a famous actor. And everyone's like, sick, go do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of people do move to New York with like their college friends, or like they have a network here
Yeah.
of just people. And those people already have like ideas.
True.
So like I was just here starting a new thing. If anything, it was just me holding me back. That's it.
Yeah. I love that too. You were saying that too the other day. You were like, the only person in your way is you.
Yeah. I mean, everyone says that, but like it's so true.
But you can tell like you actually like mean it in a way that like I feel like other people aren't meaning it.
Well,
You're in the
yeah.
You're in the heat of it.
Yeah.
You're in the thick of it.
It's what is it? Something that's really important that I realized probably one day when I was like high or something. I realized drugs. I realized that you can't change anyone's mind through words. You can only change their minds through your actions. So I was like the only way that I can ever have a positive impact on the world is if I'm the best version of myself and people see that. And then I don't have to say shit.
Nice.
It's just like people just see it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he's just doing this shit every day. Like, what the fuck?
Like, a lot of people say they're going to do things and they don't, and then whatever. But you're right. Like, if you can be your own best example,
right,
that's what you can lead by.
Totally.
And that's how you influence people.
Right.
Do you have a favorite video? And why is it your favorite if you do?
Great question. Oh, I mean, my favorite video is like the Mario Kart video I made, the first version, just because that was such like an obstacle for me and an idea in my head for so long. And to see it come to life finally after like 5 years of it being in my head and trying and failing and spending all money on it that I didn't have, and just like asking people to do things when it just like failed right in front of my face, which was just like hard and heartbreaking, and just like, whoa, I'm in it. Like, you know, it's tough when you ask like people to like come help you do things and then you just like fail at it miserably.
For people who don't know, what is the Mario Kart video? The
Mario Kart video is like during the pandemic, we dressed up like the Mario Kart characters, played Mario Kart in New York City. Like, we got electric go-karts.
Like down Times Square, so dope.
Yeah, and I went pretty viral, made like national news and stuff.
Did it really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
What did they say about it?
They were just like, everyone was just hyped on it. They were like,
so sick.
They were like, there's a positive thing happening during the pandemic, and that's what I wanted to do.
The pandemic was very like, I mean, yes, it was obviously bad, but there's like just so much negativity of like, you can't do this, you can't do this.
Totally. And that video was like a real turning point for me in my career, where it really like, I really believed at that point. Like, I was like, I can really do this, you know? Because like, once you get this idea out of your head, and an idea actually like, obviously it took a lot of time, like 5 years for it to like come to fruition. But once it did, like, the reaction was unbelievable. I was like, holy shit, like, we did this, you know?
Yeah. The first step is like getting the idea out of your head. Sure. Having the idea and then getting it out of your head.
Yeah, which there's been so many ideas that have been in my head that I've gotten out that have been terrible. But I just thought like, oh, I think this one like is not a terrible one, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Even if you failed it the first few times, like, what would you say to people who maybe like need that momentum push? Like, what advice would you give people?
I think the biggest thing that holds you back from a great idea is like the idea that's in your head right now. Like, you just think about that idea forever, like for fucking ever. Like, you'll think about that idea for a year and you think it's the best idea. Then you make no room for the other ideas. And it's like, damn,
so true.
You just sat in your room for like literally hours on end, like maybe even months of time. I swear to you, I've thought about things for like months when I could have just went and tried the idea, failed at it, then been like, oh, that was dumb. Okay, let's go try. Oh, now you're making space for a new one. That's it.
We overcomplicate things.
Exactly. It's like, just spend the time doing it. That's it.
What's the fact? Like, your brain obviously thinks faster than things that you can like produce in real life, real time. Even if it takes longer, like, still it's worth it, right? To go try it.
I think so. I think it's all about just like time management, like where you're willing to spend your time, you know? It's hard to go like try a video idea when all your friends want to go hang out. And you're like, oh, going to hang out sounds nice.
Yeah.
You know?
You would say it's better to like not force yourself, but like get yourself to like do your idea.
I mean, I think it's up to you, like what values you have and what life you want to create. Like,
true.
I think not trying to be famous or a CEO or like make $1 billion is totally fine. Like, if you want to like, you know, kick it with your friends and work a 9 to 5, fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You produce videos very fast now. I've seen you edit them. You've done it in like 30 minutes. That is insane. And for someone just starting out and it takes them hours and hours and hours and hours, what's your advice for that? Like, eventually, if you keep working on something, you'll get better at it.
It's rinse, step, repeat. Like, I made like 800 YouTube videos before one even got 100,000 views. So
crazy.
Yeah. And that's not including like client work or like short form video. I mean, like a long form video where it's just like, I'm just sitting there. I mean, I've made, I don't know, maybe 10,000 like TikTok videos.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like,
that's a lot.
Like all the shit that goes up, like I've cut like maybe more, maybe like 50,000. When I'm really thinking about it, because I cut so many different versions of the same thing, and then I pick and choose like, oh, that one would be good or that one would be good, or I'll sit on it for a day, rewatch it the next day. Like, was that a good cut? I don't think so. I think we should like change it. I
feel like this is interesting for people who have a 9 to 5 and are like balancing their creative work versus this, where it's like you have all the time, not all the time in the world, but you obviously don't have a regular 9 to 5 now. What would you say is there was a point, right, where you had your like 9 to 5, there's the tennis thing and media stuff, and then you're working on your own stuff too.
Right, exactly. I just made a choice realistically. It was like, well, I don't want to work this tennis job, and I want to do this video stuff. So I would just sit in my room and work at it, which I didn't do it the whole time. Like, obviously partied in New York and shit and all of the things. But there was a moment in time where I had to like stop, and I like took a year off from everything and just sat in my room.
Wow. And
it was miserable and depressing. Like, I'm not even joking. I was just like, damn, this is hard. Is this going to go anywhere? You know, like every day you're just like, fuck, is this going to go anywhere? Like, damn, I'm just sitting here.
Yeah.
Like, is this going to go anywhere? Like, on repeat. Every day.
Should make a song out of it.
Yeah.
Just rap that.
So my advice would be like, my advice truly is like, there's this saying called like, be obsessed or be average, right? Which just sounds insane or just like whatever, but like the amount of effort and time you just have to put towards something to learn it and like be better at it than other people, especially if you're working another job, like you just have to use all your free time on that thing and you have to just like block everybody else out.
Yeah, you just have to do it.
Exactly. And it's like, it's a long, miserable road. I'm not even joking. Like, obviously, you'd rather be out there with your friends. Sometimes there's great feelings in it, and sometimes there's not. And, you know, wins, losses, but...
I feel like the wins outweigh the losses when, like, things start. Because then at that point, like, there comes a point where you are prepared for something to happen. And when you get to that point, you're already starting to become, like, more of a dangerous person, like, more than the average person.
Above average.
Above average. Tons and tons and tons of people are constantly... Like, at least what made me move from Missouri to Los Angeles to here was, like, everyone was complaining in these small towns. Is North Carolina a small town?
I mean, it's a big state, but, like, there's a lot of small towns in the state.
Were you, like, in the...
There's 50,000 people in my hometown.
Did growing up in North Carolina, like, impact your, like, creativity at all? Were you always creative, or did you come to it?
I was never creative. I just played sports.
Really?
Yeah, in my head, I was always fascinated with the idea of videos, but I never acted on it. I acted on it like once in high school and got real embarrassed about it. I acted on it like twice in college, and then I was like, I just said, oh, I have the ideas for the videos, but I don't want to edit them. That's what I would say. I was like, can somebody else edit them? They're like, no. Cool. Like, I started a YouTube channel with my friend, and we called it like Late Night at Danville, because our house was like Danville or whatever. And we did 3 episodes because, like, we just got tired of editing it. We're like, this is too much work. That's what we said. This is too much work. And we look back at it, like, I don't know, last year. We're like, damn, if we kept, like, obviously, most people say this, but it's like, if we just did it for a year, we probably would have had a show.
The consistency and willingness to just make shit happen goes a long way. Like, willpower is a big thing.
Yeah, and I'll say, like, I don't know, to get to the point where I am now, there was, like, a big, long journey of self-discovery and how to like wield my mind the way I want, how to not be like so emotional and erratic, or like there was a period of my life in New York where I was just mad all the time.
Really?
I was just upset at the world. I was just like pissed. I was like, dude, this is like so hard and annoying. Like, what is going on? And it's because I wasn't trying at things, you know, like in my head I wanted to try, but I just wouldn't try.
Yeah.
And then I would just get mad at myself, and then that would be like going out to other people.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you need to, like, you know, take control of this shit.
Yeah, you need to, like, just grasp it and, like, beat it.
Hone it in. Like I said, like, I came from a pretty sheltered life, and then I was homeschooled. And then when I went to college, that was, like, a big culture shock, you know? Like, it just was. And then when I moved to New York, that was, like, a slap in the face.
Was
so
it?
It's just, like, yeah, of course. It's like I'd never been to New York. I just moved to Harlem, never been to New York.
Oh, you moved to Harlem when you first got here?
Yeah,
wow.
Slap in the face. Oh my God. And then it's just like you're trying to just figure all that out, like how the world thinks. The world thinks definitely way differently than your little hometown.
For sure.
So there was like just a lot going on.
The writing on the notebook, like, how did you figure out how to do that? Of like
just like listening, like YouTube. YouTube is the educator.
It is.
It has everything on there. So
yeah,
that's how I taught myself filmmaking. Yeah.
You taught filmmaking yourself, edit the videos yourself. But when you go to record videos, there's other people helping you.
I mean, at this point, yeah. But like sometimes no.
Sometimes it's just you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like problem solving. Like
yeah.
Like I went on a shoot and the videographer just didn't show. And obviously you could just get pissed and canceled, but I was like, I know how to vlog, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, let me just do it myself. We'll just do it a different way. Like, let's get it done.
That's like the mindset you have to have nowadays. Most people online will like try to grab people's attention, I feel like. And I feel like you don't do that. Like, you're almost like nonchalant.
Can you give me an example?
It's like Jake Paul and all them, and like the Danny Duncan will do like crazy stunts. Love Danny Duncan, like no hate whatsoever.
Shout out Danny Duncan.
Shout
I like
out.
him too. Yeah.
Shout out Danny Duncan.
We actually emailed one time.
No way.
I almost like joined his team. Yeah.
How did that go down?
I mean, he just posted on his Instagram story and I responded. That's it. Then we emailed and he's like, "You'd have to move to LA." And then it just died there.
Oh, really?
But, yeah.
You were like, nah.
I didn't really want to move to LA.
So because most people like to grab attention on the internet. Obviously, you're doing like something crazy. But in your sense, I feel like you thought of it as, yes, asking to tour people's apartments is going to grab attention, but almost in like a calm way. You yourself aren't in front of the camera, like screaming at the camera.
I mean, I've tried all those things.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you go back and look at my old TikToks, like I'm slapping cactuses and like screaming at the camera. Like I've like thrown shit at my face, like at the beginning of the 3 seconds, you know?
No way.
I've done all the things. Like I've gone into McDonald's and slammed ice cream cones in my eyes, you know? So I think it's just like, I think it's trying a lot of things. Like when people say like, "Oh, you do the apartment tour thing," like I'm just like, I've done everything. I've tried everything you can try on the internet, and I've just tried it, like seriously. And then it's just like developing what shines through, like what's important to you, and like what you want to see on the internet too. Like I think Brett Conti, who's a YouTuber in New York, he gave me like a really powerful piece of advice like before I blew up, and he said, "What do you want to see on the internet? Make that, you know."
That's powerful.
What do you want to see on the internet? Make that.
Yeah.
And I'm so like enthralled with the internet. I was like, okay. Like let me like deep dive a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like,
now you have a new lens.
yeah, exactly.
That's kind of reminds me of how Emma Chamberlain got her start to it, is because she filled the void of the girl vlogger. Like there was like no really active girl vlogger who was funny and charismatic and just like
Themselves.
Yeah. And she has a huge audience now. That's cool because exactly like what do you want to see? Just not being afraid to go do it.
Yeah.
Why fear is like such a big factor, like how much it stops people.
I mean, that's the number one factor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, fear is always like a thing. Like, you know, it's crazy. So I like worked with some like really big DJs and it was just interesting. They're always like, yeah, I get nervous before my show, like every time. I just don't know what's going to happen. I was just like, how the fuck are you still getting nervous, you know? But then like, I mean, I still get nervous before I go into someone, like before I make a video or just whatever.
Do you really?
I still get nervous. Yeah, I'm like, oh God, like a lot can happen. Like a lot's about to happen. Like now, especially when I'm going into people's homes that don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the fuck am I walking into, you know?
That's true.
And it's like, take a deep breath. Like, you've been here before.
You're right. You're touring like a random person's home, so it's like, what could happen?
Anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
But what was interesting is that someone literally told me the other day, they're like, yeah, it was just like, you seemed chill in your videos. Like, you weren't going to like do anything weird, you know? Like, you just seemed normal and chill. And then when they met me, they're like, yeah, you're exactly how you are in your videos.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I'm trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
Just be me.
Just be you. Yeah, exactly. Because then I feel like some people, like, everyone has their own style, like, whatever, no hate whatsoever. But if I met Danny Duncan, I'd be like, whoa, you're going to be crazy. In a good way.
Right. Well, he might be in certain times.
He might be.
Also, me too. I do some crazy shit.
For sure.
Sometimes.
Are you crazy?
Rawr.
You know, the people who are like, he's a serial killer. Like, okay. What do you have to say to them?
Obviously, yeah.
This is interesting. So, your vlogs 3 years ago, you were like, when I get to 1 million subs, I'm giving away my YouTube channel. Please don't tell me you're going to do that.
Oh, I forgot I made that video.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I think that was just an idea I had in my head. I tried a few ideas that were like that. I should hide that video because I'm almost at 1 million subscribers. I just thought it would be an interesting concept. Like I was like, maybe this will go viral, and then maybe everyone will just subscribe, and then we'd give it away like right then. That was kind of the thought in my head.
Okay.
Like, oh, if this video goes viral and then we get 1 million subs, we'll just give it to somebody. And then I'll be famous, and then I can just start a new channel, and everyone will know it's me. So it's like a double win.
I see that. Okay.
That was like
makes
the
sense.
idea in my head, yeah.
Well, now you're almost there, so.
Yeah. That idea still might work, though. Like, for somebody else, you never know. I think on the short form side, if you were literally just like every video, like make a video and then be like, when we hit 1 million subscribers, I'm giving this to one of you right
True.
now. I think that would actually like blow up super fast.
Yeah, for sure it would. Especially if you feel like it was like a group of people, maybe just one person too. Another thing about your apartment videos that is encapsulating the entire state of New York right now is like it's very inclusive. It's very much like you and the people that you're interviewing.
Yeah, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And I strategically did that because I thought about a lot of things, but I just thought I'm fascinated with New York and the people in New York, and I want to showcase them. It's like I also don't want to be Casey Neistat. I don't want to be the center of attention the entire time.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's just not as fun as for the experience. Like if I'm just like, I've vlogged like tons, you know, it's just not as fun just walking around talking to a camera.
Yeah.
It's more fun having a character with you.
Right.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of try to paint my videos online, is that like I'm the host of a show and I put in my personality and I have fun with it, but then we highlight like, you know, other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that because it's almost like I've realized this lately now through even watching all these videos of yours. When you include people, it almost makes the interest that much broader because then people have so many different things to watch.
Right, for sure. Because if it was just me over and over, it's just like,
yeah,
it's just not as interesting.
Exactly.
Also, I think why, just like to piggyback off of what you were saying, why this series is so viral is because anyone can be in it. You know what I mean? Like any New Yorker could be in it. And it's just like, oh, am I next? Like, oh, if I email Caleb, like, would he come tour my apartment? Will I get 10 million views? Like, will this change my life? Like, I've heard some stories where it's like really done some shit for people. Yeah. And it's just like, they'll just like text me and be like, yo, I got this opportunity or just whatever. I'm like, damn, like I'm really giving people a platform. This is crazy. Yeah.
Which is honestly so selfless because even YouTubers that I know in LA would never in the world give people another chance. Like, I don't know if that was on purpose that you do this or it's just who you are, but you can tell you're a very good person.
Define good. No, I'm kidding.
Caleb is bad.
But it's just like, I don't know. I'm fascinated with stories and I think like, cool, my story's interesting or whatever, but you can only tell that one so many times.
There's like a trifecta effect happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's like between New York, myself, and New Yorkers, and it's just like, it benefits everyone. Yeah,
because it's not even like you're just interviewing, you know, famous people's apartments who could be like extraordinary, crazy stuff in there. It's a mix of everyone.
Right, exactly. And like, I will do some major celebrities and stuff like that just because it'll be fun and cool, but it'll always be like the ethos is just around like your average day human. Yeah. Because like, that's the most relatable thing.
Yeah. So what is next for the apartment tours?
There's going to be a lot more going on with it. We'll just put it that way.
Okay, that's fair.
Things in the works.
Is there anything like that's been a huge part of your journey that has had a domino effect on you?
I think it was like the most domino effect. The biggest thing that happened in my life was when my dad died. That's when like everything changed for me. I wasn't close to my dad at all. Like we weren't like anything, but it just like, you know, the saying like you live two lives, like when you are alive and when you realize you're gonna die. Mm. And that's when I just like made a change like immediately. Like all my family, like they did, what did they do? They were all like sad and shit, you know, which everybody mourns differently, but and it's totally fine. Yeah. But I just like started getting up early, you know. I was like, this shit's gonna end. Like it just like hit me over the face. Wow. So I just like I stopped caring less and less and less, like since that moment. Just like, who gives a fuck, man? Like,
right, because like it is all gonna like we don't get this forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you might as well just like.
They kind of woke you up a little bit.
Yeah. That's when I woke up from my slumber.
Everyone has that moment. Like it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Yeah.
And you can tell like some people are just, and some people are fine doing whatever, which is great. But yeah, I definitely think it's important to have that moment. But I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that. It's crazy.
It happens to everyone. Did you know that?
Eventually. Was this when you were younger, older?
It was no, when I moved to New York, my dad had like 5 months to live.
Oh my God.
From cancer. Yeah.
Is your family okay now?
I mean, tragic events are tragic events, and they stick with you for your entire life. You know.
Are any of your siblings in New York, or are you just the only one?
Just me. Yeah.
Are they still back in North Carolina?
Different places, but a lot are in North Carolina. Yeah.
Do any of them do other creative things like you do?
Not professionally, no. No. They all dabble with things, though. Yeah. Like nice. Music or drawing or singing and shit.
Do you think you get any of your creativity from your mom or your dad?
The idea of creativity is just like an interesting thing to me, where I think everyone's creative. Okay. And I think it's just a process that's beat over the head over and over and over until something that looks original poops out.
That's so true. Wait, I love that.
Yeah. So like when people tell me I'm creative, I'm like, I don't think I'm creative. I just think I've worked at this idea longer than you.
Yeah, it's like an abstract.
Yeah. It's like Kobe Bryant's the best player ever because he worked at it harder than everybody else.
Right.
Doesn't mean that's the factor.
Totally. So it's more creativity in the sense of it's just your mind.
Right. Like, and I think I had that realization like Like my brother played in a band and he sang and played guitar, and I tried out for his band or another band when they needed a singer, and I was like bad. And then I was like, I'm gonna teach myself how to sing. And then I learned how to sing. And then I was like, so maybe if you just like work hard at shit, you can just do it. You know, that was like a realization.
Everyone growing up for me was, oh my god, where'd you get creativity from? And I had never thought of it like that, but I was never creative as a kid. But now I'm like, I just have ideas.
A lot of people disagree with me on that though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll talk about it with other creatives, and they're like, well, there's this and that. I'm like, da-da-da-da. I'm like, cool.
What do they say?
I mean, I don't know. They just, like, say different things. Like, well, there are people who are, like, more talented or whatever. You know, like, some people can just paint really well versus, like, other people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's so much more that just, like, plays into it than, like, you're creative or you're not. Like, I think everyone's creative. It's just, like, and how we approach, like, what is creative, right? Like, we say things are creative if you like make something like art or music or videos, but like I feel like people are super creative in business or like in these finance jobs, like they're being hella creative like with a lot of things. It's just like not deemed as creative, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But it is.
Exactly, because they're using your mind in such a contrast way that it's genius level.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
It's just channeled a different way.
Everyone has that, I don't know what side it is, but like that artistic side, or like you just want to get your ideas out there, whatever that's called, is innately inside of everyone. Because everyone has their own mind, equals you have your own ideas.
Maybe.
Can be deemed as
or maybe we just all have the same idea. and we just keep copying each other
aliens.
Over and over and over. If you look at TikTok, it's probably true.
Some people are like plagued with this thing of I have to be different. What got you to be like, I'm just going to do the same thing differently?
I think it's the realization that you can't be different. Like, no matter what level in life you get to, there's like a bunch of people around you who are just like you. And then you're like, damn, like I thought I was different, you know? Then there's like a bunch of people around me who are just like me, which is cool. It's like just dope. Yeah. But it's just like, damn, the harder I try to be original, the more I realize there's just other people who did the same thing, you know?
That's so true. Yeah.
That's why people, what do they say? Oh, the only way to be original is to be yourself. That's it. You just have to be yourself. And it's just like, it is true, because that's the only way you can shine out of everyone else. Like, you have to like throw your personality in there. Yeah,
I think personality, character, huge things to differentiate yourself, but you have to, it's just about your own style. There was this TikTok I was watching that was like, this guy was like, just be yourself, and he's like dressed head to toe in like Rick Owens, and this other guy's like, man, you ain't yourself. You're dressed head to toe about to go on a runway show. That ain't you. You was probably with a bag of chips on the couch. This ain't you right now.
Yeah, I hate that piece of advice, actually, where everyone's just like, just be yourself.
Yeah, because like, what does that mean?
I think everyone's relatable in some shape or form on the internet. Like, you can like look at some little kid farming like in Texas, and you're like, damn, this is interesting. Like, I don't know shit about this, you know? And then everyone, like, they might think their life's not interesting, then we find it interesting. Wait, what was the question before that? I had a point.
Be original.
Be original. So yeah, it's impossible. You can only be yourself, and then like you keep changing, you know? I've changed so much. Like, literally, like, my friends in college do not recognize me as a human. Like 5 years ago, they didn't recognize me. Like now, it's like I can't even talk to them. Like, it's just like, you're a different person, you know? I think that's why that's like that saying, you're like striving to be like your future self, you know?
Yes.
Like, I'm trying to be a better version of me in 5 years or 10 years or whatever. As cliche as it sounds, like that's the only way you become like original.
It's crazy. I was talking actually to someone too about this the other day. You become so many different versions of yourself to the point where it's only up to you to decide like what version.
Then you just like lean more into that. So there's this idea that there's like a million versions of you out there, because everybody has a different idea of who you are in their head. Okay. So like every interaction you have with somebody, they make a basis and assumptions of who you are based off of that interaction is completely different than the other person. Yeah. So it's like everybody thinks you're like this different person than who you really are. And then like you as your own human only like know who you are, right? Yes. Then it's like you can pick and choose like what like qualities you want to lean into as a human. So it's like basically you could like design yourself if you really want to. Totally. Like design yourself to be this type of human, whatever that type of human is. 100%. Fat and lazy or in shape and hot, you know, like literally people literally do that to themselves all the time. Yeah. You know, like entrepreneur or not, you know, like people just do that shit.
Yeah. That's interesting because like you do at a point, like I guess you don't have to design yourself if you don't want to, but like, you know, the people who are like the ones who get it. Like they're like, I want to be this, like I'm going to act on it.
Right. And I think the scary part about all that is everyone always questions it. And they're like, well, I don't know if that's what I really want. Yeah. So then they just stay stagnant. But it's like, ultimately the most successful people in the world I've ever met, like, they are fluid in life. Like,
Yes.
whatever it is you think you're going to be, it's not going to be that, but it'll lead to that thing, you know?
They're very open-minded.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, you know, I didn't think I was going to be fucking touring people's apartments online, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was the last fucking thing I ever thought I'd be doing. Last thing.
Did we go over this yet? What was the idea behind that?
No, we didn't. Okay, so the idea behind it was, well, first I just saw these people doing street interviews, so I was like, well, how can I 10x this idea?
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
same strategy.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, let me just like keep it simple and ask people like what their favorite pizza in New York is, and then I'll go review it. Like, it's a bit different. So I was doing that, but I was like, it was going viral. It was doing well, but it wasn't like a hit show, you know. But shout out Dave Portnoy. I'm gonna do a review with you soon. It's gonna happen.
Shout out.
Yeah, we're gonna do a review together soon. It's happening. And the pizza review show is actually, I'm starting to do with celebrities, which is pretty interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's funny. But yeah, but then I saw my friend Sean Rizwan. He was doing like the street interviews, and then he was like, he went super viral. Like, hey, how much do you pay for rent? And then he was just like talking about people's story, but it was just an interview. And then I was like, oh, how do we take a step further? And I thought, oh, I'll ask if I can go in their home. You know, like, that's weird. You know, like, people probably tell me no. And if I can do that, that'll probably go viral. So that was just kind of my idea. And then, like, the first day that we went shot, it was like the most defeating day ever.
Really?
Like, the whole day we're just like going and asking and like trying different approaches to like to chat with people to see if they'd say yes. And everyone's like, fuck no, dude. Like, weird.
People told you no?
Everyone, yeah.
Damn.
Except for one person. And then we got that one, and then that one went viral. All the clips went viral. And then
Holy
like
shit.
now it's like everybody knows it's a thing. It's like, of course you have proof of concept. Like, if you don't have proof of concept, people don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, but if you have proof of concept, it's like, oh, that's interesting, you know?
Exactly.
It's almost like you need that thing first to like show what it is. Like, if I'm trying to go into someone's home and tour it and I haven't done it yet, you have nothing to show them.
Yes.
It's like if I'm chatting with somebody on the street, hey, can I tour your apartment? And then they're like, haven't seen my videos. I'm like, hey, look at a video. This is what I do. Then they're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that got 10 million views.
Totally.
Like, yeah, I want to do that. Or no, I don't want to show off my space because I want to be private.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
But if you have proof of it, you're kind of like, okay, he's done this before. It's not like a...
It's not some just random dude who's just like gonna walk in my home and I don't know who the fuck he is.
Like your resume.
Yeah.
It is a validation point to some...
Right, exactly.
You need some credit to some point, which is a good thing also to just work on something. Have proof of something.
Have something to show. Like, So somebody I know like asked me, how do you go like shoot DJs? Like, how do you go take pictures of DJs at music festivals and stuff? I've done all that shit. And then I was like, well, have you shot any? And then she was like, no. Then I said, okay, well, you need to show, like, if I were to refer you, you need to show that you can do it. You can't just say, I do photography. You need to show that you've done it. So I was like, just go shoot a show somewhere. And she's like, what show? It's like, any show. Just bring your camera anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, no one gives a fuck what show it is.
No.
Just like, go show that you can do it. And then that's it. Prove that you can do the work or get the job done. Like, that's what people want. Like, they want you to show that you can get the job done. Because then if I refer you and you can't get the job done, that makes me look bad. Then it makes them look bad for hiring someone who can't get the job done. And then it's just like a lose-lose all around.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. That's what I'm... What advice would you tell your younger self, your older self, and the self that you are right now?
Just try those ideas. That's it. Like, just try those ideas, you know? Like, go meet the people. And, like, people aren't out there, like, to destroy your life. You know, there's a lot of people out there who, like, really just want to help. And they do. And if you're, like, out there trying to learn and, like, just like do more with your life, like, people want to share information. That's the craziest. Yeah, that's it. Just like try more things and like believe in people because they'll help you.
I love that. Yeah, that's true. People like, I feel like they like when you put yourself out there at least.
Yeah.
They like kind of like, oh damn, like even if there is a part that like they'll make fun of it, they're kind of like in the back of their head, I'm not out there doing that, or like, damn, I wish I could put myself out there like that.
For sure.
Even if it is stupid.
Yeah, I just think like people who have gone and people who have done things have gone through all the same emotions and trials and tribulations that I went through, and the person that's going through it right now is going through, or the person that's like, you know, already done a ton of shit. So they just understand how hard it is, you know?
Totally.
So like if someone's actually coming forward and like asking for help or whatever, if they have the time, you know, most of the time they'll help.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Or
love
if they
that.
see something in you, you know.
Yeah.
And if they don't, and that's cool. Like, life is a numbers game.
I feel like successful people like want to help other people.
Exactly. Because, like, that's where you get the most joy, you know, actually, like, putting somebody else on.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you like have gone through it and like can give advice. Like people naturally want to give advice.
Yeah.
So final question. Do you think that it's ever possible to fully master your craft?
I think the world's always evolving and it's always changing. So by the time that you become the master of that thing, it's starting to change again. So then you have to learn again. So it's like you might be at the top, but then like the top disappears. And then it's like, oh, I got to like learn more to keep up.
Yeah.
So it's probably like, no, you just like, and that's what's exciting and fun about it. It would just become boring.
Yeah.
If you're like, I don't know, if it became too easy, then it would just not be fun anymore.
Yeah, like there'd be like no challenge to it.
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah, I think the same way. Like you gotta just like hone in on like something and like appreciate like the surprises to it.
Right. Plus there's like always more that you can like learn or add to or create and stuff. Like, for example, like today I was like with another YouTuber friend and then we were just like chatting and giving each other like advice and information about what we know. And then he was like talking about like on YouTube you can do like polls and stuff, and he literally gets like 1 million like likes on his polls.
Oh my God.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like I didn't even know people did this. I thought people just like updated their like, you know, YouTube audience with, you know, like, hey guys, would you rather see this video or this video this week? Or we have an announcement. Like that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like treating it like a meme. Like he's like treating it like Twitter memes.
Wow.
And I was like, holy shit, I've never seen anyone do this. And he's like, yeah, bro, you could just like da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. It was just like another way to think about like YouTube growth strategy.
Yeah.
It's something I would have never thought about, which has nothing, and that's like part of like the craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a way.
Yeah, totally. Because it's like a new angle. Because like
Exactly.
things are always evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
One more thing that just popped in my head is like surrounding yourself with people that are good for you. How important do you think that is?
I think it's the only thing that will make you move forward. Like I have this weird thing where like I just think if you're not adding value to my life, I'm not going to be around you.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. The second like you don't believe, you're out.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's pretty ruthless and a lot of people may not agree with it, but like doubt creeps in fast, you know. The second someone's around you like, oh, I don't know if you can do that, or that's a silly idea or whatever, it's just like, yo, I can't be around you.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't. And then, I mean, it's like so fast to see in people too, like what they believe and how they feel and their like feelings about the world. And I just think like, you know, I think it's a good thing because people who are on the other side, they just like want to see you live your fullest life, and that's it. They're not trying. Obviously, they'll give you good information if they're like, well, that's probably not the smartest idea, you know?
Yeah.
Versus like, that's stupid. Don't do that. Why would you ever do that? You know? They're two very different things. One's constructive and one's from like somebody's inner self of their own self-doubt, you know?
Yeah. And I think it's important because like if you're around those people every day and then like it will start to affect the way that you think. Like even if you're like a strong-minded person or like whatever.
For sure.
It's totally a thing. I had friends back in California, they'd be like, Elena, don't make that YouTube video. You don't want to be like seen this way. And it literally would stop me from making them. Like I wasn't at the point where I could like think for myself kind of like all the way. I mean, 17 years old, I was like younger. But it's important. You have to like have that mindset.
And that's just all like learning also. It's not like immediate. You shouldn't be like 15 years old and just being like, fuck you, man. Like, yeah. You don't believe in me. I'm cutting you out. Like, I know you're going to be like, cut those people out. There's like a funny TikTok meme where it was like, he was like, yeah, I analyze my friends every 3 weeks. And if you're not adding value into my life, if you're not adding money, prosperity, you know, girls, like whatever, then you're fucking out. I evaluate all my friends every 3 weeks. And it's just like, it's not that deep, but it's just deep. Like, how does that person make you feel? Like, you know, do you feel like they're lifting you up or do they feel like they're putting you down? And you know the answer to that question right away.
It's just like be around people who are like, can value your life. Yeah. Because then at a point you're kind of just wasting your time.
For sure. There's a lot of people out there. And I think as funny as this sounds too, like there's so many people out there. And there's so many, like your best friends are all out there, you know. Mm-hmm. It's like you have a best friend now, you're going to have a best friend later, you know. It's okay.
Yeah, you'll even meet cooler people because I was telling someone this too the other day. I was like, first week doing like a lot of things for the first time, like months ago in New York City. friends were texting me like, oh, we just like want to like do nothing, like we're so bored, and I was like, I can't relate, like, I just can't.
Well, there's so much to do, and when you start doing things like other doers, you get surrounded by other doers.
Yeah.
But also, that's just like one way of living. Like, not everyone wants to live that way. Like,
Right.
not everyone wants to live like do all the things. Like, that's what I say all the time. I'm like, I want to do all the things, and they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I want to do all the things. Like, I want to experience everything.
Yeah, like you're like a naturally curious person.
Yeah, for sure. I'm majorly curious. It's just like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. If you enjoyed this episode of The Craft, please rate this episode or like and subscribe, whatever platform you are listening on. I really hope you enjoyed the conversation today and can't wait for you guys to hear the next one. Until next time, cheers, and remember to always follow your passion.